It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Game day Wednesday again. The Cats Talk Wednesday pregame show. Terry TB Brown, Vinny Hardy, BS3 Network. TB, man, what's happening?
Man, it's wintertime, I tell you that. We had 63-mile-an-hour winds come through here lately. It's crazy, but that means it's hoops time.
Yes, it is. And we got a game tonight. What was it, a couple weeks ago we had a game? We did a little quick one before the game.
Did a quick one for the game. Did a quick one for the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So we back at it. You know, it's Cats Talk Wednesday. We got to show up.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You're right. And I think the Cats are gonna show up. It's one of them on paper trap games, you know, after Gonzaga, before Louisville. But Colgate is 2-8. I don't foresee them posing a big threat, but I hope the Cats just come out and flex on them and get this out of hand real quick, and then we can move on to them cars coming to town, man. Saturday evening.
I will be in attendance. I'm taking my youngest. She's all in on Kentucky, and she's like, look, we have done gymnastics and volleyball and soccer and softball. So I said, yeah, we can do men's hoops. That's the preeminent matchup. So yeah, let's do it.
Ooh, that's gonna be nice. TB and Can't Say Little Miss.
No.
Rupp Saturday evening. All right, man.
Yeah, should be fun. I'm making a quick trip back home to do it.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, man. And you got a guest for us tonight too, right?
Yeah, one of my co-workers who is a sports guy. He's been listening to us. You know, you tell people, hey, I got a podcast. Be like, oh, that's cool. Keep it moving. But he has listened, and we talk sports all the time at work. This week, we have talked more sports than actual work. But he's excited. He's an Iowa fan. I figured it was time for him to come on with all the WNBA stuff. He's been following that. And with Caitlin Clark being the Time Athlete of the Year, I mean, it's time to celebrate all things Hawkeye. So we're gonna bring my man Craig on at the top of the hour and talk about that.
Sounds good. See all that talking more sports than work. That's you can do that because you're the boss. That's what that is. Well, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So we saw the Cats go out west to Seattle. I think you was on a radio show out there when you went to Boise.
Yes.
And, Kentucky did their thing in the battle in Seattle with Gonzaga. First half was a little rough and had us like, oh, it had you even calling yourself an idiot, if I'm not mistaken, on social media streets. I'm just
yeah, well, I own it. That's the thing is I ain't gonna be one of these people to be like, oh, this is terrible, and then when things turn, pretend I didn't say that. Like, I ain't my get down, and I wasn't. All I said was at halftime was, is this team tough enough?
Mm-hmm.
Because the first 20 minutes they did not look tough enough.
Yo.
And I'm like, oh, this does not portend well, because we're going to have to go into some pretty hostile environments in the SEC. As you can see, there's like 10 SEC teams in the top 25. Like, it is no longer Kentucky and whoever decides to be good, right? It's no longer that. We no longer Gladys with the Pips, right? Yeah. We no longer Marky Mark with the Funky Bunch, however you want to say it. You know, we no longer Casey and the Sunshine Band, right? So Heavy D and the boys, right? I think you get what I'm saying. And so we still not going to be playing in those Wednesday, Thursday SEC tournament games. But I just was like, man, somebody got to be tough. And they came out from the jump and were tough. We saw the adjustments. We saw the change in approach, and we saw them take their effort up a notch. That's my thing. Wins and losses happen, right? Like, it happens. Like, you play your best, but you got to show me a little fight. But then it, like a lot of those games, we fought back to make it a game, and then it's like, okay, it would be worse if we fought back and fell short than if we didn't fight back. So you get to that point where it's like, we have to now win this game. It was like the Tennessee game a couple years ago, right? No point guards. We go down there, no shot, whatever. And they're playing hard. And it's like, yeah, this one's got to be a W, because it's going to be worse if it's not. And then it went to overtime, and I was like, it depends on how you go into overtime a lot, right? Depends on how you go to extra innings. Are you the one to force it? Or depend, and they answered, got off to what, a 6-8 point lead before Gonzaga gets some crazy threes to make it a game. But just they fought, and that, to me, that's something you can travel with, because down a point guard, you got people doing things they're not accustomed to. Shout out to Andrew Carr. Yes, he missed those free throws, but that right there is why you don't hang your head until the game's over. Right, to get back into it, to just do enough, they can't get a shot off, right? And then Owe coming from wherever he came from, Brandon Garrison, right? Like his, was it 9 points, 10 rebounds, or 10-9? I think I might have a clip, but almost a double when you didn't expect that. And everybody stepped up their game. Shout out to Kerr Kriisa.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's what it takes, right? Yes, he broke his foot. I mean, that, whatever happens with this season, that's on the highlight reel already, right? Is him getting back on a broken foot and challenging. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to be about.
He took that charge right before that and was just all energy, all heart. And then, like you said, to get back and challenge that, man, when we saw him limping around after the game, and then turns out he's got a broken bone in his foot. And everybody played well. I thought Jack's running the point.
And one of those things I love about basketball, and I say this to my wife all the time, is basketball is the one sport where one person can just be like, I got this. And there were stretches where Jackson Robinson was like, I got this. I think we've all been kind of like, these last couple of games, even the win against Duke, especially like at Clemson, who's our go get a bucket guy? We were kind of hoping before the season it was Jackson Robinson, but he wasn't quite showing it. He's kind of a no-show against Duke, right? And he owned that. And I think they all kind of own what happened at Clemson. But watching the breakdown of the journey, and Jack's Robbie like, hey, this is what's going to happen. All right, cool. So in the span of about 30 minutes against Gonzaga, I went from, oh man, this may be another early exit team to okay. Because Gonzaga is good. Playing on the road and coming, like, there's a lot of good things that happen. And for me, it was the defense. I know they went 1-3-1, but I think it was that not letting Nembhard pick us apart. Put a body on him. Make him make way more decisions than he wants to make. And that's what it was about. That's what slowed Gonzaga down, is when you're on defense, making that offense think a little bit. And that zone did. And there was a tremendous amount of effort because we were rebounding out of that zone. And that was the thing. Clemson is like, rebounding is want to. And getting out rebounded, that's a want to. And ain't no coach got to coach that up. That's a you thing. And so
Schifflin and them boys was and that's how he played. That's how he plays, and he just went to work on us. That's all you gotta say, dude. Dude went to work.
I can't hate or anything like that. But for me, just a great win. Looking forward to an easier game today. And then we'll get ready for Saturday. I know we're going to deep dive into that a little bit. Cats and cards, going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
But I'll give my prediction later on the show. That's called a tease in the business.
That's just right.
That's a tease right there.
For sure. So yeah, just a good win, man. And I firmly believe we've seen some slow starts. We've seen threes not fall. The next little phase, the next progression, they're not trying to get down 16 at the first half of every game. So I think there'll be a little tweaking to come out and start a little stronger, or if you get punched, react a little quicker. That'll be the next thing, kind of putting that full 40 minutes together. Because we saw what that effort intensity was the last 20. I think the next thing will be, okay, let's come out of the gate. Yeah. So I think that's the next little phase. Also, because there's no bucket getter. There's no dude. And some of that, are we still maybe spoiled as to what we've been seeing from Cal for the past 15 years, where you had the dudes, you had the talent, you have a guy that's just capable of, hey, clear it out, let me do it. We got to maybe get used to that, especially with this team. It's not going to be the super explosive dude, dynamic first step.
Yeah.
You heard Mark Pope. He said, now we got to start cutting teams up. Cut. So if it's not going to be ISO, get out the way, let me do it. We're going to backdoor you to death. We're going to be even more precise than we have seen offensively. And that'll be another way for, more easy buckets. If the threes aren't falling, another little option in the bag, if you will. So.
Absolutely. And we're going to need that, because the championship teams, they will either force you to play their way, or if you decide to do things, they can adapt, right? Like I think, again, going back to that 96 team, we can play up and down if you want to, or we can play in half at court if you want to. But either way, we are here, right? That's how championships teams do it, whatever it needs to be. So for me, I'm excited because this team is showing me, hey, I think they got it. I mean, those two wins, Duke and Gonzaga, that's two of the better wins in the country so far.
Yeah.
So you have to be encouraged.
Absolutely. I think our guest is backstage waiting.
Yeah. Speaking of encouraged, I'm going to bring on my man, Cash Money Craig Hayes. We work together. He's a good dude. We're going to talk Iowa. We're going to talk about native, I almost said native son, but native daughter, Caitlin Clark. She's doing it. So let's go ahead and bring on my man, Craig.
Hey, guys.
What's going on, Craig?
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me, Terry.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. I was just telling Vinny, I said, you and I have been talking sports since we've been co-workers for a couple of years now. And I wanted to have you on because all eyes are really kind of focused on Iowa, with Caitlin Clark being the time athlete of the year. I almost said female athlete, but just athlete. So she's the is she the second basketball player after LeBron? Like, this is uncharted territory. But I wanted to bring you on to kind of talk about, because you've been checking her out since Dowling Catholic days. Is that right?
Yeah, she's locally, she's been on the radar for everybody here in Iowa, here in Des Moines area especially, because Dowling Catholic is like 15 minutes from where I'm at. So, I mean, and she was putting up 20 points a game come right out of the gate her freshman year. So, yeah, she's definitely been getting a lot of attention here locally since high school, but I think she really caught on her sophomore year in college at Iowa is when things kind of, the match got lit, because Bluter figured out how to use her. Is kind of what helped her. She started passing the ball more in college. That's what then she went meteoric rise after that. No, I think there's no end to the limit of where she's heading. I think yesterday proves that. How many female athletes have been on that cover?
Is it Serena and then Caitlin? Is that right? or is it Simone Biles? I can't. One of those two. We were talking about that today.
It's like an honest question. I'm not sure I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
it's not very many.
It's a short
on
list.
one hand, I thought.
Right?
It's definitely on one hand.
So,
Craig, you were like me, where you kind of been watching Caitlin these last couple of years. You longer than me, but she goes to the WNBA, and I think you were the first person to say, "Hey, the WNBA pass was only like $35." And
oh yeah, that's right.
And we I said, well, I'm gonna get it just so I can watch her and everything else. So kind of watching the WNBA, like, look, I didn't watch any games before this year. I've been very clear.
No, I didn't either. I had never seen 1 minute, not 1 minute of a game.
But here we are, and just watching her slide in. I know there were some bumps at the road, but when you take a step back, look at her rookie year, kind of what are your thoughts on all the records? I mean, you can't even keep track of all of them.
I don't know. I mean, she keeps proving me right. I think that I really think we're seeing something that only comes along every 15, 20 years or so, where you get a player like that that's so unique, and just that captivating. I mean, whether you hate her or you love her, you've got to admit that girl can play. She's a really elite player. And I put her in the category of popularity of like a Michael Jordan, or even like in another sport like Tiger Woods, where those two came in and they just took over. And I kind of feel like that's what's happening right now, is we're seeing somebody on that level from Des Moines.
and that's the thing.
Iowa.
And I posted this on Facebook, and I just said to Louisville folks, like how we are with Muhammad Ali, that's how Des Moines is with Caitlin. Like, she's known all over the world, but this is her hometown, and it's great to see someone do it from Iowa. And I think that's part of what rubs some people the wrong way, is because she didn't go to UConn, she didn't go to Tennessee, she didn't go to wherever, and she's doing it, and she's building this platform from Iowa and Indiana, like the flyover states, and she is just. I mean,
Midwest
you run out of
was
words.
A perfect fit for her. I mean, that's just like Des Moines. I mean, Indianapolis is very similar to Des Moines. I mean, it made a lot of sense for her to go to the Fever, and they had a gold mine. It was you couldn't miss unless she got injured. Is about the only way I thought that was going to go wrong this last year anyway. And it was just amazing. Every single game we'd talk, and it's just an evolved. I would see, even after the Olympic break, I even saw some new things that she was adding in that short period of time that she was already implementing into her game. Just imagine if you give her a full winter. I don't know. I just think you're going to see some stuff that we're not used to seeing in women's sports. And I'm not trying to slight women's sports by any means, but I like to watch things that are entertaining for me personally. And I think they have it now. And now they can bring me in and teach me about who used to play the game and, who were the greats. And I want to know that stuff, but let's get there. Let's get everybody on the board first and not try and push us out. we want to root everybody on, and I want rivalries, and I don't know. There's been a lot of unhealthy talk, and there's been a lot of healthy conversations like you and I have had as well. But you're right. A lot of naysayers, but also a lot of the opposite,
Yeah, a lot of
positivity.
Absolutely. And so next year, the Fever have a new coach, and you and I have debated this.
I predicted what was going to happen, and it did.
Yeah. So Vinny, I think it was maybe like the fourth or fifth game. And Craig says to me, what do you think about Sides? I'm like, I don't know enough women's basketball to know if she's a good coach or not. I'm like, we'll see what happens. He's like, I don't think she's got it. I'm like, we'll see. And then as the season progressed, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. Because there were just stretches, Vinny, where the Fever, they're going. And there would be like a 4 or 5 minute stretch where it's like, do you all even practice? And that's where a coach, like, you need to take a timeout, right? Because, Vinny, you remember how Phil Jackson used to just sit there, right, and not do anything. Well, you can do that if you've got Shaq, Kobe, Jordan, Pippen on the court, right? But for
Mhm.
other people, like you need to like say, hey, this is what we're running to get our girl or whoever a bucket. Are you happy, Craig, that Stephanie White is now on
Mhm.
board and seems really excited? Oh, well, why wouldn't you be? But she seems really excited to be working with Caitlin.
I I think so. I mean, we'll see. I think there's a lot of money out there now that can be used to bring in some better coaching. I mean, if you look at the college game on the female side, I mean, you're looking at like $3 million for your top of the line coaching. I think the highest paid coach in the WNBA right now is like $1 million, and I think that's the Mercury coach. Um, that's all going to figure itself out. I think you had a lot of bad coaching from the middle down in the
Yes.
WNBA just watching the games.
Hmm.
But I think we've got to give her a shot. I think that she
Mhm.
coached a good Connecticut Sun team. They never really met expectations, but they never had Caitlin Clark. And I think that the Fever are probably one or two players away, and we can start talking about rings.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So,
I mean the I think, and people can say what they want to about Caitlin. I'm just saying that right now the WNBA is trying to meet the moment, and what I mean by that is we're seeing turnover in coaches, turnover in front office. Like all eyes are on us.
We got
Now's
to
the
get it
time where
right.
they have to make
Yep.
that leap, right? That's what you have to do because you can't have 12 or 13 teams, three great teams, and everybody else is below 500. Like you need to move that up, right? You need to everybody's got to
That's
get
right.
involved in this.
You got
Uh,
to make some
the,
money to pull some of them people in. And last
right.
year they definitely did. And there's that huge television contract they just signed too. Um, they're getting more viewership than NBA games. So
Yeah.
I showed you that stat today that the NBA is. I'll read this to you, Vinny. This is a very interesting. Its viewership for the entire NBA is down 48% since 2012. Four of the five lowest rated NBA finals of the past 30 years have occurred in the past 4 years. So it just kind of tells you that that league is going in one direction and the WNBA is going in the other. And who would have thought that?
hmm.
For me, I think analytics, and I don't. This is my old man rant, Vinny. This is what I'm gonna do.
Uh-oh.
Everybody's playing the same. Everybody's shooting 40 or 50 threes. Like it works if you have Steph and Clay at their peak. But I don't want I don't know, Lonzo Ball chucking up 12 threes a game. That's not fun to me. In the WNBA, it's more the basketball that I like where you got people that get to their spots, right? Like Vinny, I know you've seen some of those videos on the timeline, classic 90s games, right? Or whatever. And I'm like, they don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
Basketball used to be an artistry of I'm gonna get to this part on the floor, and there's nothing you can do to keep me from getting to this spot and do what I want. Like that's gone from the NBA. Whereas you
Mhm.
still see that on the WNBA. Like they have their spots. Like the long two is kind of a good shot in the WNBA. Like
Yeah.
if you're comfortable taking it, take it.
Mhm.
Like that's the thing. And so this season, this is what I would do. I would watch all the Fever games, and then we'd watch
Mm.
another game. And I'm like, oh, Nafisha Collier, which I didn't realize
No,
she
I
went to
like her too.
UConn.
Yeah.
She a bad
Yeah,
girl. No.
yeah. And just learning these women, like, oh, okay, this is good. Like, and Craig and I were talking, like, I love the stuff that the Minnesota Lynx run offensively and defensively. Like that's a well-coached team.
It's a very
Vinny,
blue collar team. It's
yeah,
defense, it's hands on the floor. That's the
yeah.
way I like it too. I'm old school. I'm a 90s Jordan guy.
Okay.
For sure. I respect defense just like you guys do, I'm sure. And in the NBA, that's few and far between when you see games where there's actually defense being played. Since they've ran out of stars, is kind of what I was telling Terry. Your LeBron's on his way out. They've got to find a Kobe or a Michael or a LeBron because right now I don't see anybody. Steph's
Mm.
there, but he's on his way out too.
Yeah.
Well, the shelf life for our stars used to be like 14 years. Magic played like 12 seasons. Like Bird, I think, maybe 12 or 13. Like that used to be the kind of turnover, but all the top stars in the WNBA, they've been there 15, 16 years already. LeBron,
Yeah.
KD, Steph, like they're older than you think. And so
for sure.
I don't think the NBA has brought up this new class. Like, why should we pay attention? Like, I think Anthony Edwards is great, but what's the NBA doing? It's almost like what the Angels did with Shohei and Mike Trout. Like, what are y'all doing out there? Like, we should know about these people. What are you doing?
Yeah, baseball I would put right in there with the NBA as far as like how I even look at it now. I don't watch baseball very often. Look at the NFL though; they're the opposite of what the NBA has done, where you've had this major crop of quarterbacks with Manning and Brady and Rodgers, who's on his way out. But now that class is flipping, and we actually have every single team almost has a top-notch quarterback. It's getting close to that point. So the NFL product is just getting better and better and better, where the NBA, I think, is going in the wrong direction. But that's the style of the game. Chuck threes and sag back on defense, I guess.
And eventually...
Oh, hello, the bad Katie. That's the wife listening. Awesome.
Hey,
awesome.
Right.
Hi, Katie. Nice to meet you.
The second no, Caitlin Clark is the second best brunette from West Des Moines, Iowa.
I read that.
Yes, I
read that somewhere. I don't know who said it.
I got to put that out there.
Accurate statement. For sure.
So, Vinny, where are you at with the WNBA right now? Are you 1 foot in, no foot in, or?
I think coming back in. I'm a Houston Rockets fan.
Okay.
Going back to the early 90s.
Elijah one.
Yeah, and jumped on that wagon after the Hawks traded Dominique Wilkins for Danny Manning. I couldn't. That was a deal breaker. I'm still mad about that, to be honest, Craig. So Elijah was always my second favorite player behind Dominique. So I just became a Rockets fan. I never went back to the Hawks. So the Rockets go, of course, back to back, 94, 95. And then, the WNBA, you got the Houston Comets, and they win the first 4 titles in league history. So I'm like, hey, I just transitioned right into Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, Van Chancellor. So I was in way back, and then kind of faded away, and you see highlights on SportsCenter, and and now kind of coming back to it after a few years, not really keeping up with it intently.
For sure. I mean, I think the WNBA is still missing opportunities. I mean, I think she should have, that All-Star game that happened could have probably been done a little better. I think that they needed to spotlight her in the 3-point contest and in the skills challenge, maybe even, but definitely the 3-point contest. I mean, who leads the WNBA in threes?
Right.
They simply just didn't ask her. I mean, Clark said that she wasn't asked. I think they're going to get all that stuff right this year. I think you're going to see even more exposure if that's even possible. I mean, the Olympic team is another thing I think they probably should have done. Is everybody would have watched that team if she was on the Olympic team. It's true.
But not even about watching. Like, they needed a point guard. Like, if you watch that gold medal game, it's one of those things. Like, you can good point guards make scoring easier. Like, you can score points, but if you don't have a point guard, you're grinding it out. And that's the difference to me. Is like, she could have done something.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think that all it definitely wasn't going to hurt anything. It only would have helped in the situation to even bring more attention to the league as a whole, not just on her, but as a whole group. I think everybody's winning off this deal. I think that it's a win-win having her in that league. And she's only making $75K right now for that team. So show her the money, boys and girls.
That's a good return on investment, because what did she generate? Like almost $40 million herself. Like one out of every 6 tickets sold were attributed to her. Like, and this is what I say to the naysayers. Do y'all know we can see the numbers? Do y'all know we can see the attendance numbers? Do you know we can see the viewership numbers? Vinny, she had 2 million people watching a first round playoff game on an NFL Sunday. 2 million people. And y'all know how everybody else avoids NFL Sundays, right? Because if you remember, the Grammys used to be early in February, and then they moved the Super Bowl to the first week of February, and the Grammys like, I guess we got to move. Like,
Yep.
Everybody avoids NFL Sundays, but she brought in 2 million people. She had 1 million people watching Ion, and I'm like, I don't even know what channel that is.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Wow.
You do now.
But I'm like, do y'all
I
know
didn't
we can
before
see
then either,
Yeah.
Terry. I had no idea that channel even existed.
Do y'all know we can see the numbers? Like, oh, she's not all that. Like, do y'all know we can see when the other teams move to larger arenas? Like, when you go to Atlanta, the Dream then moved to State Farm where the Hawks play, and the Mystics go to, I almost said the MCI Center, and that's dating myself in Washington, or the Cap Center. Yeah, that'll take you back a little bit. But like, do y'all know, like, we can see the attendance numbers? Do you understand what, like, this girl is different? Because I think, Craig, you and I were talking, like, when's the last time she played in front of a less than capacity crowd? Maybe her sophomore year. I'm talking about home and road.
I mean, her senior year at Iowa, every game was sold out. I went to that Big Ten tournament her senior year up at the Target Center, and it was 99.999% Iowa fans, and the rest. I mean, it's just people want to watch her play, man.
And the crazy thing is, when you see her games, especially at the pro level, it's not just Fever shirts, it's Iowa 22 shirts. Like, Vinny, they roll deep out here. Like, I've been trying to tell folks, I don't know what y'all think about Iowa, but they roll deep.
Well, we got to reach for something when our football program's so mediocre. And then our men's basketball team has got 4 guys with the same last name on the McCaffrey. What? No, they've transferred. They're on Butler now. But, I mean, you had 3 McCaffreys on the squad at one point with the dad and the 2 sons on the team. And 2 of them, they started. So, I mean, it's been since Keegan left, the Iowa basketball program has been pretty rough. So it was easy to hop on that female, the women's team. They were winning.
And they're still continuing. I know they lost to Tennessee last weekend, but they're still
Iowa State tonight. They play
Iowa State tonight. Yeah.
8 o'clock. And then the men play tomorrow night. That won't be.
We're gonna finish up because we all got games to watch. But
hey, congrats on your win over Gonzaga too. I actually watched that game. That was a nice game for you guys. That was fun.
Yeah. It was one of we're trying to get back. We're just trying to get back to, I know that Iowa wrestling kind of rings the big bell here, and every school has its what we hang our hat on. I know Iowa at the wrestling now. Women's basketball is kind of becoming that thing, and we're hopeful that Mark Pope will get Kentucky basketball back to that, because
seems like
losing on the first round in the tournament. That's not fun.
Hey, you just you play Iowa because they're the team that loses in the first round every year. I don't think Fran McCaffrey's gotten out of the first round, to be honest with you. If he did, I don't remember it.
Wow. I don't think so.
No, they should have just had Lisa Bluter coach both the men and the women. I don't know. Make her earn that 1.3 million she was making, I suppose.
Man, even heard the Pat Summitt treatment. They used to say that about Pat Summitt. She coached the men's and the women's team. Same thing for Lisa Bluter. Wow,
there's a good name. Yeah, that's some old school Tennessee right there, right? That's where she was at, for sure.
Yeah.
But
when I think of I think your guys' your college, I definitely think of the basketball program. Yeah, that's what I think of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a dust up. Rex is awesome.
Yeah,
Sexy Rexy and Kenny Skywalker.
Yay!
There you go. There you go. We got to tell Lisa, one of our listeners is a big Kenny Walker fan. So there you go, Lisa. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I could dunk.
Absolutely.
I think he won a dunk contest, to be honest with you, in the NBA.
He did with the Knicks. Yeah.
89,
yeah.
Sure did.
But
he was kind enough to hop on. He even hopped on here and talked to us for a minute.
And then you have a guy from Iowa talking about Caitlin Clark. I love it.
Well, that's what we told you. I told you, I was like, look, we'll have some names, but sometimes it's cool just to chop it up with friends and just kick it around. That's
Oh,
what
I
we
appreciate it.
do.
This has been a lot of fun, guys.
Mhm. We do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just saying.
Number one fan right there.
Yeah, there's Michelle. She listens to our show every week. Craig, Michelle is fantastic
Awesome.
and everything.
How about you and Lauren right there? Congrats to the proud dad, TB.
Yeah, man, she came in
And
third in
parents.
some forensic thing. I mean, you know, we parents, we're all parents. Isn't it something?
Some
when you-
forensic thing.
I don't know. But you know,
Yeah.
when your kids are doing something and they killing it and you don't even know what it is, but they're excited and explain it to you, and you're like, I don't what happened again? You know, it's great when your kids are excited about something, but you don't even really like, okay, awesome. Like no, but it is cool when your kids are doing good things, and that's awesome. Met Craig's son on Friday night.
Did.
We
My
had a
oldest.
little ugly sweater. I don't even know what they call it, sweater party or whatever.
And guess what we started talking about?
Sports.
Sports. Indiana
Started
Fever.
talking
I'm
about
pretty
sports.
sure we were talking about the Indiana Fever. I think.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, they had the expansion draft. That's what it was.
Yes, and
Which
Kate
I didn't
Martin,
understand. I still don't quite understand how that whole thing played out either. They kind of dropped the ball on that too. Nobody knew who was actually frozen, who was available until like they started announcing the names, and they could have drawn
Yes.
interest around that. I don't know. We'll see. They've got a
Well,
lot of learning to do.
and that's the thing is, I kind of chastise the WNBA because I'm like, you people are unserious, but it's also they've got way more eyes on them than ever before, and so they have to figure out, you know, we kind of can't do like we've been doing because things are now different. Like we have to operate in a different way. That's my 2 cents on what they can learn from this past season. Like we kind of have to change this up.
Mhm.
And it's okay to say Caitlin's 101. That's okay to say, but then we also have Asia Wilson. We also have like
For
you
sure.
can say, hey, this person is the one, but we also have a bunch of other folks that you can watch too that are really good on their own. You know,
Yep.
It's like, yeah, Michael Jordan in the 90s, he's that dude, but we all there were other dudes in the 90s you could latch on to. Like we try to tell the young kids, Charles Barkley, y'all just think he does a lot of talking. That dude was really, really good, right?
Larry Johnson is a guy that I always go to in the 90s that I love to watch play. That UNLV B team period.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and no, you're right though. 90s basketball for the NBA was a great time to be a fan. 80s was great too, with Bird and Magic coming in. That's kind of when it started to meteorite, really take off. But when Jordan hit, oh my goodness, I never missed a game, not of his.
I mean, it's just different. And of course, Dominique Wilkins. I'm gonna throw Dominique out there for you.
Thank you.
Vinny.
Thank
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
And I saw a clip the other day of Nick Van Exel. I forgot how good he
Oh,
was
he could shoot for sure.
on those Lakers.
He was really
teams.
good in college too. Van
Yeah,
Exel was.
Cincinnati. Yeah, because that's where they had
Yeah.
that dude that punched the horse, right? And I need to Google that. Didn't Cincinnati have a dude that punched a horse? Was that Melvin? It wasn't Melvin Levitt. Because remember, Bob Huggins had all those dudes. It was always up to something, and somebody punched a horse.
It's because their coach was Bob Huggins.
Yeah,
That's right.
He's still the scandalous dude, man.
Yeah, they got him out to paint in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw one more off the wall question to you guys.
Sure.
Did you guys see who North Carolina hired to head coach their football team?
Yes.
You have to be a 70-something to even be considered, looks like. I mean, you get rid of Mac Brown, bring in Belichick.
Bring in another guy that's on AARP.
Can't you do like?
How is he going to be relatable? Tom Brady even says the guy's probably the biggest jerk that he's ever been around. How is he going to recruit?
But you got to rub elbows with the boosters, and you can't be a jackass to the boosters. That's my whole thing. Is like he never gave this warm and fuzzy vibe, but now you've got to go rub elbows with the wannabe Ivy League North Carolina. I don't see how it works, but whatever. It ain't my money. But that's crazy.
Thought for sure he was heading the Dallas Cowboys, but
oh boy,
I guess not.
Yeah.
That was surprising.
Vinny's a Cowboys fan, so that's all Vinny.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a Browns fan, Vinny, so
Okay.
I think I've got a little worse than you. You've got a few rings.
Sorry about week 1 there, Craig.
It's all good, man. I'm used to it.
was-
I'm numb. I'm numb. Jameis Winston just gets out there and slings about 9 touchdowns a game, but he throws 8 interceptions with it. So,
but he's
as
praying.
long as Watson ain't playing, I'm happy. What?
Yeah. How stubborn. How stubborn were they to keep putting Watson out there until they couldn't anymore? I mean, that was.
It's probably the worst trade in NFL history. I mean, I can't think of only Herschel Walker. I think that trade is probably the only one that's even comparable. But the Browns literally built the Houston Texans. I mean, we put their offense together for them and gave them Willie Anderson on top of it. So, yeah, that's almost over with, hopefully.
Yeah.
The Jameis Winston experience.
He'll throw you 14 touchdowns, but get 12 interceptions. He's not short of entertainment. That's one thing I'll say. I would not be upset if he stayed next year and the Browns drafted high and got a good quarterback in the draft. That's what I hope they do.
Because if you're gonna stink, be entertaining, right? Like that's the thing is if you like he doesn't know where the ball's going when it leaves his hand. Nobody knows. Like, hey,
he don't know what he's going to say.
He doesn't know either, man.
Yeah, he don't know what he's going to say when you ask him something.
Oh, that's another thing is when he
snow in Des Moines, Iowa. This wind that's coming down to Des Moines from Canada. Oh, what a great day to be on this gridiron. I mean, where he's going.
Famous
like,
Jameis.
What, Robert Frost? Come on, Jameis.
It's hard to dislike Jameis Winston, though. It really, really is. And I don't care if we win or lose at this point. So if I'm going to watch, I might as well be entertained. And he never seems to fail there. So go Jameis.
Not at all. Not at all, man.
It'd be harder to be a Cowboy fan. You guys have expectations.
Yeah, that's true. What drew you to Browns fandom when you were picking NFL teams?
Yeah, so in my family, everybody's kind of got their own team. But when I was a kid, the Browns were really good. So, I mean, we're talking Bernie Kosar. And, I mean, they were just 2 years where Denver knocked them out in the AFC Championship game. Came down to a play on one. And then the other one, Elway just had a drive that was incredible. But that's it, is that those 80s Browns were really, really good. And a lot of people don't remember that, but because they're so bad now, and then they left the league for a while too. They were sold to the Ravens. That's how the Ravens came. I'm sure you guys know that, but I didn't even have a team for 4 years.
Like Terry with MLB. He's just out there
on
Expos.
That's right. Yeah,
just a nomad out there.
That's right. Just
still got cool uniforms despite not being in the league, though, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That
Absolutely.
baby blue.
Absolutely. Oh man, but like I was saying, Vinny, Craig and I are going to try to catch a couple of games as teams come through Minneapolis because it's not that far from us.
Target Center's fun. That's a nice little area that in Minneapolis, and it's in the summertime too, so you can go to a baseball game up there too at the same time. If there's a basketball game going on up there, it's a fun area.
We're gonna try to hit that up and go up to Minneapolis, catch some games and things like that. Craig's my buddy now, and we like I said, we always talking sports at work. We also do work at work for people that are listening.
Yeah. Whatever we're debating, though, Terry, I'm always right, though, right?
Yeah. And Vinny, this is how I know when it's going to be a good conversation, because I log in, because Craig logs in before I do, and I say, "Hey, Craig," he says, "Hey," and then I can see just those 3 dots sitting there, and I know he's got something. Did you see it? It's like, yep, I saw.
I mean, it took me like 4 seconds to let you know that Clark won Time Athlete of the Year yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. As soon as
that
I
kind of shocked me. That caught me off guard. I was not expecting that. I mean, it's not female athlete of the year. It's athlete of the year. So that really shocked me.
And when you see her comps, I mean, it's worldwide athletes. I think with the endorsement deals, I mean, she's behind like the Simone Biles and some tennis people, but like she's the first team sport person on that list.
One of the major sports. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I mean
sure.
that's
She has some knocks on her, though. I mean, she's not perfect. I mean, she has a
right.
turnover problem, but I mean, you got to look at like who leads the NBA in turnovers. Like LeBron James, I believe, is the all-time leader in turnovers, and I
Yes.
think in the NBA this year it was Luka Doncic, who's
Hmm.
probably one of the top 5 players in the league. So, I mean, that comes with having that ball in your hand all the time,
That's
and
it. Yeah.
you're throwing passes that a lot of the time the teammate doesn't quite know it's coming. So
Right.
they're
And her
learning.
teammates have
They're
talked
learning.
about that learning curve of, oh, she's actually going to throw this ball and it's going to get here, like that adjustment. But talking about the turnovers, I looked up top 20 NBA turnovers all time, right? LeBron's
Mm.
number 1. But of the top 20,
Russell Westbrook
19
probably.
19 are in the Hall of Fame or will be Hall of Famers.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then the 20th is Reggie Theus, who actually had a better career than you might think.
No, he was a solid player. I remember him.
Yeah. So those are a lot of that is just usage and having the ball in your hands. But you cut back a couple of turnovers, add a couple assists. She's averaging 20 and 10. Like that's my expectation for this coming
That's
season.
what I start a team with. I start a team with a 20 and 10. Whether it's the rebound more, I'd take the assist over the rebound. But if I can get somebody that, in no matter what stat it is, if I have a 20 and 10, that's where I'm starting.
Yeah, that's a
That
good
just makes sense
foundation.
to me.
Good foundation
Absolutely.
to start with. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They have pieces. They're missing a few. They've got to sign Kelsey Mitchell. That's got to get done.
Yes. Yes.
And once that's done, they can get some role players added. But
Is Aaliyah Boston still fitting into the long-term plans, or?
for sure. Yeah. She is coming along. She struggled at the beginning of the season, but I think as the season progressed and she got more used to Clark, because I think Boston was one of the main focal points. I think she's kind of accepted that she's a 15 to 18 if she's having a good night, where, I don't feel like they're running too many plays around her unless she's earning a lot of them off the board. I don't know. What do you think, Terry? I mean, I think Kelsey Mitchell's way more important than Aaliyah Boston is, but
yeah,
she's a piece.
The best action I saw the Fever run was a pick and roll with CC having the ball, Boston setting the pick, and then Mitchell on that strong side. Because now you're putting the defense, you're doing that pick and roll. You have to stay attached to Clark, right? You can't help off Mitchell in that corner. And then Boston can either hit that jumper or roll to the basket. And now you got to bring somebody off the weak side. And Lexi Hull became automatic after the break. I think she was like 60% after the Olympic break from 3.
Well, she was getting wide open shots based off what you just said. The breakdown you just said is putting Hull over on the other corner. And that is, she's option 4 or 5 at that point, but you leave her open.
So,
let's let her figure it out and see if she can get it in.
And so she's catching it.
Pick your poison at that point.
And so as the defenses kind of sniff that out, like that to me was their best option, because Aaliyah can go, she can play with her back to the basket, but she also has a pretty nice jump shot. So now you're forcing the big that's covering her, got to cover a lot of ground, right? They're setting that high pick. We can get in the X's and O's of all that, but I think Aaliyah is finding her niche. I think she could probably be, 15, 16 points a game.
Yep.
10
rebounds a game for sure.
Yeah. I bring in another big. I like that they kept Dantas, because Dantas can shoot from 3 and she can go and rebound and play the 5 and let Aaliyah play the 4 a little bit. Stephanie White's got as they add pieces, she's got a lot of different things they can do. But yeah, you got to keep Mitchell, because her and Caitlin got on the same page with those backdoor cuts. Vinny,
that's the Pippen right there. Kelsey Mitchell.
Right. And so you got Caitlin strong side with the ball, and you got kind of Kelsey Mitchell on that baseline, and whichever way the defender leans, that's how she's cutting, either to the hoop or to the 3 for the corner. Hey, that's scary hours, man, because you got to make decisions if it's just them two, because they can both go to the basket. They can both shoot. That's a lot of ground to cover.
They need a guard. They need a guard that can come in and actually back her up for 5, 6, 7 minutes a game at least. That you're not freaking out when she goes out. Because
Yeah.
whenever Wheeler would come in the game, it'd be like 4 turnovers.
Yeah. And Wheeler's not the shooter that.
No.
I mean, how many people are the shooter that Caitlin is? So
no, I know
yeah,
they need somebody that can come in and be consistently. To just be consistent actually, and not turn the ball over, and that can maybe score 2, 4, 6 points in that short period of time, and then get her a breather. I mean, we'd be all sitting there waiting for her to come back in because they lose 8 points in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's where the coaching piece comes in. That's what I mean.
Right.
This is wrong, man. We shouldn't be doing this right now.
We'll just,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if Caitlin's out, if we can just maintain, and then she can come back fresh. I would love to see her get a little bit more minutes of rest and everything. Did you have something, Vinny? I don't know if I cut you off.
I was just gonna say, were y'all gonna jump up there when Fever played a while and try to keep that in Minneapolis? So
Yeah. We're gonna go up there. We Fever fans. We rock with CC.
I am officially a Fever fan for sure.
Yeah.
I'm on board until she's not. When she's not there, then maybe I'll figure something else out. But for now, I'm a lifer Fever. I never had a WNBA. I never watched 1 minute prior to last season, and I actually watched the draft, the draft before the season even started, and that even had record viewership.
And that's the thing. There's so many people, Vinny, like Craig and myself, like, okay, Caitlin, that's who I'm here for. But for $35, you got all the games, right? And you can watch. And that's what upset me when you hear these gatekeepers, like all these new fans showed up. You should want new fans to show up. Yeah. Like, that's what you want, I would think.
Oh, they're coming.
That's what
we're coming regardless. Right. If you don't want us, we're gonna come anyway. We're here now. So
exclusive.
Yeah.
You can't watch this thing. Put a curtain up around the league. No new fans allowed. We're gonna close the curtain.
I think that'll fade.
And if the players want to make money, that's what they have to do.
Jordan took his lumps in the beginning. It took him 7 years to win a ring. So let's see what happens. And I mean, that's another knock on her. She has never won a championship. Well, she went to Iowa. You know how hard it is to get people to come play at Iowa. It's 6 degrees here right now. Who wants to come to Iowa and live in 6-degree weather?
I know. So, what kind of crazy person would move to Iowa?
Not the smart one.
But yeah, the not because she was playing some super duper teams in the championship games, like LSU, really, really good. Of course, South Carolina, really, really good. But this knock that she doesn't win, like, oh my goodness, she's out here 40-point triple doubles, putting it on all these other teams. Like, she's fantastic.
Yeah, that's just simply not having enough gas in the tank to finish it up, I think, is how that ended up twice. I mean, with the LSU beating and then the South Carolina beating. I think she ran out of gas, and I think the whole team did too. I mean, she kind of held them all up all year.
Yeah.
Not uber talented, everything below her. I think Kate Martin is in the league because of Caitlin Clark. I think she is literally in the league on the coattails of Clark. I think Martin's okay player. I don't think she's a great player. I don't even think she's that good of a player. I think she's definitely filling seats, though. She's number 4 in the league in jersey sales. And she's a backup.
Yeah, she didn't get any run in the playoffs. Like, that's the crazy thing. So I'm right there with you. I think next year is going to be the
30 wins.
The year she makes that jump. I'm expecting 2010 and 5.
I like 30 wins. I like 30 wins.
That's what I'm banking on.
Wow.
30. Yeah. Because that'll get you number 1 seed, right? 30 wins.
Yeah.
Because that'll be 30 and 14. That should be.
We'll see how the free agency thing shakes out, but a lot of those teams are getting broken up with the free agency pieces that are still out there, and a lot of them will get re-signed. But like Kelsey Plum is a free agent. There's a big name that's got to get signed somewhere. It sounds like she's gone. They can't afford her.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do with the money. That money will start rolling out here in the next couple of years. But
it's
crazy, man. I never thought I'd be sitting here talking about it. Say that. Ask me this 2 years ago, and I'd be like, "You're nuts."
We've been doing this. I don't even know what was this show 520 Vinny. I don't know, but we've probably done more WNBA content in the last 6 months than we did
You and
the
everybody
previous
else.
12 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know,
I'd watch. ESPN would be bringing up segments 20 minutes long, in their talk shows in the morning. It's just the way it is now. People want to talk about it.
Absolutely.
yeah.
But Craig, we're not going to hold you up because we're going to wrap up because we all got games and stuff to watch. But
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Certainly appreciate you coming on and
thanks for having me, guys. This has been a blast.
We'll have you on again.
For sure.
Because
all right.
It's fantastic. So we got certainly appreciate you, Craig. I know I'll see you, tomorrow on our
I'll talk to you at work.
Yeah. Won't be quite as fun.
When you see that dot going in the morning, you'll know if Iowa won or not. I'll be like, here we go.
Right.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Thanks, Craig. I appreciate it, man.
Nice meeting you, Vinny.
The same here,
All
man.
right. Thank you, sir.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I know when something big has happened because I log in at 8:30, and as soon as I log in, Craig says, "Hey, TB, hey," and then it's ... and I'm sitting here waiting. Did you see it? Yes. So he's great dude. I'm glad he was able to come on and everything.
Yeah.
And so we got Cats taking care of Gonzaga. Way to go. Got Colgate tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of business. Big one on Saturday. I will be in attendance. Cats versus the Cards, and Cats gonna win. Like, I'm gonna be nervous, but Cats will win.
Yeah. And I think we had a better team than them, and they got a couple guys that just got hurt and lost for the season, and they kind of limping in, and you hate that. I wish they had a full squad, which we don't either. With Kerr being out, and I think they kept Butler out tonight. Well, I think it's cool because you don't need him for Colgate. I think save him for Louisville, and but I think we was going to beat them anyway.
Yeah, you don't break out the big guns for Colgate.
Yeah, that's right. Just get him some extra rest. Stay off your feet, Lamont. This team is 2-8. The only close game they had was like Syracuse, but Syracuse is not any good this year. So, I know they made a tournament last year and were like a 14 seed or whatever, but I think they lost a lot, and they just say it's some hard times out there for the Colgate Raiders. It was pretty cool. The reason this game got scheduled though, like they had a professor that was from Ashland that went up there and was a Kentucky fan still, of course, but kind of endeared himself to the Colgate players and coaches. And unfortunately, I think he passed last year, but his family is coming to the game tonight. But I thought that was pretty neat. Somebody from Ashland was up there in New York. Of course, Kentucky's Big Blue Nation's everywhere, but he would have no doubt been a unique experience for him had he been able to come to Rep tonight. I hate that he passed away, but cool that his family's going to be there tonight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is a Big Blue Nation, and that's the calling card. Like Craig said, like people know Kentucky basketball, which again is why it's dumb that we had to pretend that our basketball coach said this is a basketball school. And I'm like, again, how is that controversial? Because go anywhere in the world with a Kentucky shirt on, you're going to get a Go Cats, and they know about the basketball. Like, why is this even? I can't let it go because I'm like, what's controversial about that? He didn't say football was no good. He just said this is a basketball school.
Yeah.
Again, we let that. Speaking of football, are we gonna field a team next year?
Man,
last one out. Turn off the lights, man. I don't know how next year's gonna go because it got to the I just don't know about football next year. I don't know.
You got so many things to fix. You got holes everywhere. the draft comes on. Well, the 49ers, these are their needs. They've addressed this in free agency. They lost these guys in free agency, but they're looking to get an inside linebacker, a second string corner, and a number 2 wide receiver. Not quarterback, running back, fullback, tight end,
offensive line,
corner, safety, special team, everything.
All of it.
Everything. And it's got to work. You can't just feel it, but you got to feel it and it work and translate into, because whatever the signing class is, I was talking with Van Houser today, not unless you 5 stars, none of those guys are ready to play as freshmen. That's
not in the SEC.
No. So you can't bank on anything coming out of that this coming year. You gotta, I'm in show me mode. You gotta show me what y'all gonna try to do. You got a young and up and coming wide receiver coach coming in. He was 1 year and he went on out to, I think, Nebraska with Hogerson, because he had ties to him and with West Virginia. He's like, hey, it's Dane Key. Legacy. Dante played here. I watched Dante as a kid play linebacker with Freddie Maggard and some of those teams that weren't that great. It was hoping and clawing and hoping Dane would come, and you get him to come, and after 3 years, he even leaves from Lexington, Frederick Douglass High School, and he's like, nope, I got to go. I done gave all I can give. I'm kind of like Calvin Johnson. I got to get on up out of here and go somewhere else.
You can't blame.
No.
And that's the thing is, like, the thing with Stoops is, do you think he can right the ship? I will say this, even after the Oakland game last year in the tournament, I initially was like, well, Cal can't come back because the weight of things, there's just, you have to make that break. But when they initially said he was coming back, I'm like, well, I think, but the difference is in basketball, you can get 1 or 2 dudes and you can flip the script, right? Like that's the one thing about basketball. But with football, I'm like, and I don't want to minimize what Stoops did and has done, what his resume is at Kentucky, but it also feels like when Stoops got here, we finally started funding football on a level that we should have been to be competitive. So the cynic in me is like, well, how much is that Stoops and how much is that just Kentucky doing the right thing? Because I think about the first game I covered at Commonwealth Stadium then was Joker Phillips' last game.
Okay.
And so this was the old press box. This was the old interview room. And I'm like, there's duct tape on carpets. Like there's, you look at ceiling tiles where they're stained with like, this how y'all do things? And then like you look at Rupp and then you look at like, we're not even trying to be an SEC team. And so they do all the renovations and they do all this stuff and they got the football facility and everything. Now we're respectable. And I was hoping Stoops would be the coach to take us to that next tier. But now, is Stoops the guy to even maintain where we were?
No.
So a lot of questions. I'm glad that I don't have to answer them. Barnhart got to do something.
Yeah.
Because the thing about basketball, people still gonna show up. You still gonna get 20,000 in Rupp. We are still, even if we don't think they're gonna win, we still gonna show up for that Friday game in the SEC tournament. But you cannot have 30,000 people at Kroger Field or less.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable. And again, getting called in the SEC, if you can't even beat Vanderbilt consistently, And I know you probably saw this tweet, man. Like people are using Ole Miss losing to us as being disqualifying for like everybody. Ole Miss, shut up! You lost to Kentucky, and I'm like, somebody showed this to our football. Like you got to have more than that. Like you know what it was way back. We had that stretch, Kentucky football. I don't want to besmirch the players and coaches, but the X's and O's weren't there, right? I think we can be fair with that. We've had great players, great men. X's and O's, the wins haven't been there. But you know what it's like to turn on NFL draft and see so-and-so from Georgia. Who's his highlight package against? Kentucky. Somebody from Florida. Like, we should be better than that. Like, every now and then the Gatorade shower for Guy Morris come on, and it's like, oh, and I got and all these Chicago friends of K's like, TB, yes, it absolutely happened just like that, absolutely, yeah. Like I don't want that anymore, but that's where we are again.
Back to
y'all lost to Kentucky, so like basically Ole Miss could have been 11-1. But people are like, well, they lost to Kentucky, so I don't even know about that. Like, don't you have some self-respect?
Yes.
Like, that would make me more mad than anything, is being dismissed like that. Not like that we're bad, but like, oh, like, I say this all the time, and I know we're going to wrap up because I want to watch this game. But real quick, Kentucky's had some bad men's basketball seasons, right? Not few and far between. But I'll tell you, even with that non-win COVID season, even with losing the first round, the thing that hurt me the most over the last 30 years, it was 2009. Kentucky, North Carolina playing, and it's game day. And they're talking about Tyler Hansborough and North Carolina. They on their way to a championship. And then Reese Davis, whoever says, what about Kentucky's chances? And they laughed. They were just like, that's a ridiculous question. No. Like no, that hurt me more than anything else. Y'all only had 9 wins. True. Like, but we not even worthy of a. That's not just a complete dismissal.
Yeah,
not even my heart. That hurt my heart.
No analysis, not even an explanation as to why or how. But nope, just
because. Even though the last 4 or 5 years haven't been great, I don't think, losing to I've been saying St. Joe's, but St. Peter's. Okay, we were 2 seed. You can talk yourself into getting to the Final Four as a 2 seed, right? Even last year we were 3 or 4, 3, whatever.
3.
But you can talk yourself into Reed and Rob, we can get this done, and it didn't happen. But that stretch of they're like, nah, we don't even see this breaking. We don't see how they can do it. Not even a Jody Meeks getting hot. Like it was nothing like that. Like it was just like Kentucky. That hurt my heart. And with football, like I have some pride, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you instill discipline in year 13. That's been my whole thing is we are losing because we're doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's, love Dane. He slapped the dude upside the head for Vanderbilt for like the second year in a row. We all, if we watched the last game, the images of Kroger Field, all the red in there, all the Louisville fans in the lower bowl. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And to me, and look, I don't break down film intricately like Van Howes and all these guys, but Louisville's first drive, second play of the game, Terry, their quarterback rolls out to his left, and I watch on my TV, and I hate to call him out, but it is what it was. I watched Deion Walker and J.J. Weaver just kind of strolling after the quarterback. Then they realized, oh, he's holding the ball longer than we thought. So then they tried to pick it up because now we can go get this sack. He ended up throwing the pass incomplete or whatever. Van broke it down. But the fact that they weren't hustling from the get-go, it's the second play of the game. This is Louisville, team you done beat for half a decade straight. Had Van on Believe in Kentucky. He said every defensive coordinator I've ever had said, I don't want to see a change in speed on film, meaning you were going slow and then you go fast. You should have been going fast. And I saw them do that on the second play of the game. I was like, I said, we in trouble today. I said, we ain't about nothing today. When you got Dion, who you costing yourself money because you high draft pick, been and your numbers this year were nowhere near what they were last year as far as dominant and taking over and wrecking the offensive line. And love JJ. He's from Louisville. This is his hometown team. And they was just jogging after that dude. I was like, man.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
It just is. And that's where we like these stories of, the underdogs, not even if you win, but just give me everything you got. Like that is, as sports fans, people who donate their time to watch a sport, money to go to the game, what you really are looking for is give me that effort.
Mm-hmm.
Make me feel like you want this like I do. And when you jogging out there, like, could they have beaten Louisville? I don't know. But I know what it looked like for most of the time I was paying attention. Like, I didn't turn it off. I started doing other things. I wasn't cleaning because I wasn't nervous we was going to win the game. But I'm like, this ain't it. And then when it was 27-7, score a touchdown, you're doing the L's down. Ain't time to do L's down. Mm-mm. I love L's down. Mm-hmm. That ain't the time. Mm-hmm. That ain't it.
We started off, Wilcox ripped a big run at the start of the game. Then the next play, he got George Teagued. The dude for Louisville just come and just give me this ball, boy. What you gonna do about it? And so, I know you've seen this clip too. We about to wrap up. We all saw Barry Sanders do his magic for the Lions. There's a clip where he embarrasses Derrick Brooks. Derrick Brooks, a Hall of Famer, one of the best linebackers ever. Everybody gets got. Barry got him, and then he's like running down the left sideline. And I swear, I can't read his mind. It looked like Derrick Brooks was just kind of jogging. I think if he hustled, he could have got Barry from behind, but I think he was just so humiliated by what happened that he was just jogging. And you probably seen it on YouTube. I can send you the clip. I say he is not going hard after Barry, and this is a Hall of Famer. So I don't know. I guess it happens to everybody, but it was a rough look for AJ and Dion. That's all I'm saying.
You got to hustle. Big Miss, I told you her football coach is Don Beebe.
Yes.
And once I looked that up, I was like, now I know that team's going to hustle because all he got to do is pull up Super Bowl, whatever it was. Yeah. Was it 27, 28?
28.
28.
Y'all won 29, right?
We won 29. Yeah, y'all won 30. Uh-huh. But I know he going to be like, what we going to do is hustle, pull it up. And I know he break down. Leon thought he had a touchdown. This is I know for a fact them dudes is going to hustle on that squad because that's his thing. Like,
they got no choice. They got no choice.
So you wasn't hustling out there. Oh, no. Play it again. Yes, coach. Yeah, all right. It is. We was losing and all that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just hustle. Act like you care. And that's, as we kind of touched on with Craig as we wrap up, that's the NBA's, the biggest thing is people think they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I don't know how you fix that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the perception is they don't care until the playoffs, or they only care about the big games.
Yep.
And that's what separates when we start. My whole thing about Michael Jordan I'm not debating GOAT, whatever. My thing is he took every game serious. Whether it was a preseason game or game 6 of the finals, he gonna give it to you. And I don't think that there's a lot of people out there that feel that the NBA does that today. But we got to go because we got a game to watch against Colgate, the toothpaste people, I guess.
That's it. So we'll watch them. We watch them in Rupp tonight, and then we'll be looking for y'all in Rupp this weekend. Enjoy it. Cats Cards in Rupp. An unbelievable weekend coming up for you and Lauren. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
Thanks to your guy Craig Hayes.
That's money, baby.
Thanks for getting him on here.
Yeah, yeah. He's very excited. He's very excited. Like I said, we've been talking and all that kind of stuff. Oh, just got the notice. Game get ready to start. So,
all right,
we'll see y'all
later.
week.
Cats Talk Wednesday. Thanks for commenting and watching. See y'all later.